Welcome back. We're diving straight into some potentially really significant news today, especially if you, or maybe someone you know, is grappling with high blood pressure. The kind that just, well, doesn't seem to budge with standard treatments.
Absolutely. This could really be a turning point for those folks.
We've been looking at a fascinating study just out in the New England Journal of Medicine.
That's right. It's focused on a new investigational drug. It's called lorundrostat.
Lorundrostat.
And the initial findings, well, they're really quite compelling.
How so?
So the study showed an average drop, get this, 15 points in systolic blood pressure for the people who actually got lorundrostat.
15 points. Wow. Compared to what?
Compared to a 7-point drop in the group that got a placebo, a sugar pill, essentially.
Okay, 15 versus 7. That's a difference you'd likely feel, wouldn't you? A tangible impact.
Potentially, yes. A very meaningful difference statistically and likely clinically, too.
And this work was spearheaded by researchers where?
University of California, San Diego School of Medicine, led by Dr. Michael Wilkinson.
Right. So our goal in this deep dive today is really to understand what this study means for you listening out there. Why are these results so noteworthy? And, what happens next?
Exactly. What's the road ahead look like?
Okay, let's unpack this then. We all know high blood pressure is common, but maybe give us some context. Why is uncontrolled high blood pressure such a challenge?
Well, first off, the scale is just huge. We're talking about 120 million adults in the U.S. That's nearly half.
Half the adult population. Astounding.
It really is. And it's serious stuff. It's the leading cause of heart disease.
Right.
And what makes this study particularly important is its focus on what's called resistant hypertension.
Resistant hypertension, meaning?
Meaning blood pressure that stays stubbornly high even when people are already taking sometimes multiple current medications.
So these are the folks where the standard playbook just isn't working.
Precisely. You can imagine how frustrating and, frankly, scary that must be.
Absolutely. So where does this new drug, lorundrostat, fit in? What's it doing differently?
Okay, this is where it gets really interesting. It targets a hormone, aldosterone.
Aldosterone. Okay, remind us what that does.
So aldosterone is crucial for regulating blood pressure. It basically tells your kidneys how much salt and water to hold on to.
Right, managing fluid balance.
Exactly. But if your aldosterone levels are sort of out of balance too high, for instance, it can really drive up blood pressure.
And that's often missed.
It's often an underrecognized factor, yeah. Especially in these tough-to-treat resistant cases, lorundrostat is specifically designed to tackle that imbalance, to kind of quiet down that aldosterone production.
So think of it like if your body's stuck in retain salt and water mode because of aldosterone, drugs that just, say, widen blood vessels might not be enough. They don't hit that root cause.
You got it. That's the thinking. It could explain why some people are resistant to those standard treatments.
Okay. So it's going after a driver that might be overlooked. Makes sense. Tell us more about the study itself. How is it set up?
Right. So this was a phase 2 clinical trial.
Phase 2, meaning?
Meaning they've already done initial safety tests, and now they're looking at effectiveness and side effects in a slightly larger group. It was also multi-center.
Across different locations?
Yes, across the U.S., which is good. It suggests the results aren't just a fluke of one particular clinic or population. UC San Diego Health was involved, Cleveland Clinic Coordinating Center for Clinical Research, too.
And how many people participated? 285
individuals took part.
Okay. And the design, what did they actually do?
It was pretty carefully designed. For the first 3 weeks, everybody, all 285, got a standardized blood pressure medication.
Why do that first?
To get everyone to a common starting point. Establish a baseline, see how they respond to a standard approach first.
Levels the playing field. Okay.
Exactly. Then, after those 3 weeks, they were randomly split. About 190 people got lorundrostat, and the other 95 got the placebo.
And they took that for how long?
For 12 weeks.
And tracking the results. Was it just like a cuff reading in the clinic?
Oh, no, much more detailed than that. They used continuous 24-hour blood pressure monitoring.
The ambulatory monitoring.
Precisely. Wore a cuff that took readings automatically over a whole day and night. They did this at the very beginning, sort of midway through the 12 weeks, and then right at the end.
That gives you a much better picture, right? Not just snapshot.
A much, much more reliable picture of what someone's blood pressure is actually doing. And as we said up front, the key result popped out from that data.
The 15 versus 7-point drop.
Exactly. The lorundrostat group saw that average 15 millimeter of mercury mmHg reduction in systolic pressure, while the placebo group only averaged a 7 mmHg drop.
That really highlights the drug's effect beyond just, being in a study or baseline changes.
It does. It's a statistically significant difference.
What did Dr. Wilkinson, the lead researcher, make of these findings?
Well, he emphasized that the study was specifically designed to look at this exact scenario. People whose blood pressure wasn't controlled by the standard stuff.
Right, the resistant group.
Yes. And he also really highlighted that they were testing this new approach targeting aldosterone, which, again, he stressed is often this underrecognized cause.
So that 3-week baseline period you mentioned, that was key.
Absolutely critical. Dr. Wilkinson pointed out it allowed them to really isolate and understand the added benefit, the effectiveness of lorundrostat itself on top of what standard meds might do.
Makes sense.
And yeah, his initial take was positive. Compared to placebo, the therapy was clearly helpful in lowering that top number, the systolic pressure.
Okay, so the average drop was 15 points. That's encouraging. But does that mean everyone who took lorundrostat suddenly had perfect blood pressure?
That's a really crucial point to clarify. No, not necessarily.
Okay.
While the average reduction was good, Dr. Wilkinson did note that blood pressure levels, the actual numbers, still remained elevated for some people in the lorundrostat group at the end. But, and this is the important context he gave it, remember, pretty much everyone in this study started out unable to get their blood pressure down enough with their previous meds.
Right. That's why they were in the trial.
Exactly. So even if lorundrostat didn't get every single person to their ideal target range, achieving that significant reduction was still a major improvement for many who had run out of options.
That puts it in perspective. It's not necessarily a magic bullet cure for everyone, but a significant step forward for a tough-to-treat group.
That seems to be the takeaway, yes. A meaningful step.
So what's the vibe from the researchers now? Is there real optimism here?
There definitely seems to be. Dr. Wilkinson expressed hope that this could become, a genuinely useful tool for patients who really need it.
Another tool in the toolbox.
Precisely. And another important point he made, the trial included a more diverse group of patients.
Oh, that's good to hear. Why is that particularly important?
Well, historically, clinical trials haven't always reflected the full diversity of the population. Including a more diverse group means the findings are potentially more applicable to a wider range of people, especially those from communities who might be at higher risk for heart disease. It helps ensure treatments work well for everyone.
That's hugely important for equity in health outcomes. So diversity was a focus. What's the next concrete step then for lorundrostat?
The next big step is a larger clinical trial, Phase 3.
Phase 3, even more people, longer duration.
Typically, yes. Many more participants, often studied for longer, really nailing down the safety profile and confirming that efficacy we saw in Phase 2. It's the crucial hurdle before seeking approval from regulatory bodies like the FDA.
Okay, so still some way to go, but the path is clear.
Yes, Phase 3 is planned.
And who backed this Phase 2 research financially?
This study was funded by a company called Minerally Therapeutics.
Minerally Therapeutics, got it. And if listeners want to, read the original paper.
For sure. The full publication details are lorundrostat efficacy and safety in patients with uncontrolled hypertension. The lead author is Luke J. Laffin. It's in the New England Journal of Medicine, dated April 22nd, 2025.
And there's usually a DOI, right? Like a web link.
Yep. The DOI is 10.1056 NEJ MOA 2501440. You can usually plug that into a search engine or the journal site.
Great. Okay, so let's try and bring this all together for you, the listener. What's the main headline here?
I think the core message is this. There's a new drug in development, lorundrostat, that shows real promise. It significantly lowered systolic blood pressure in people whose hypertension wasn't responding well to other treatments.
And the key is how it works, right?
Exactly. By targeting aldosterone, tackling a specific mechanism that might be driving that resistance in some individuals.
So this really could open up a new strategy, a new option for managing a condition that affects so many and has such serious health implications.
It definitely offers that potential.
Just thinking practically, for someone living with that kind of resistant high blood pressure, what could a 15-point drop actually mean for them?
Well, it could be pretty significant. Even drops that might seem numerically modest can translate into a real reduction in the risk of major events like stroke or heart attack.
Right. Lowering the odds over time.
Precisely. And for people who've been struggling, trying multiple meds without success, it could mean feeling better day to day, maybe having more energy, and certainly improving their long-term outlook. It's about offering a more tailored approach when the standard ones fall short.
Yeah, a targeted therapy. Of course, we have to underline it's still investigational.
Absolutely. Phase 3 trials are essential to confirm everything, but the initial signs are certainly encouraging.
It feels like a definite stride forward in managing a really tricky problem.
It does. And it leads to a bigger thought, perhaps, for you listening. Well, think about the implications of this kind of approach, targeting a specific underlying mechanism like aldosterone imbalance. What could therapies like this mean for other complex conditions, beyond just hypertension?
Like diabetes or autoimmune diseases, maybe?
Could be.
Yeah.
Does this kind of success story, even in its early stages, open doors for more personalized medicine, getting treatments that are better matched to the individual's specific biology?
That's a powerful idea.
So the question to mull over might be, what does this initial success with lorundrostat make you wonder about the future of treating complex chronic diseases? Where else could this targeted approach make a difference?